If you get this kind of topic in your IELTS cue card, you are lucky. And the reason is these topics are repeated very often. Anything to do with your past. In this case, the question says, talk about someone you used to live with. So you're going to be in a better position in answering this after this video because there is a very simple formula as to how you have to answer this. Let's talk about the start. Whenever you have these old situations, never start by saying, today I would like to talk about, because everybody uses this template. You want to be different and you get marks if you are natural. So when we reflect on things in the past, for example, if I have to talk about my best possession, I can say I've had many possessions over my lifetime, but the one that I really like has to be this one. So you start in that manner. There were these things, and one of them was this. So here you're talking about someone you used to live with. I could say, over the course of my college life and bachelor life, before I got married, I had many roommates. One of them was my friend John. So you start with that. Now we're going to get to the bullet points, but remember, for each bullet point, there is always an issue. I've met examiners who say, focus on the last bullet point the most. Some examiners say, focus on each bullet point. Some examiners say, depends on the type of bullet point, give the time accordingly. So my suggestion to you is simply give each bullet point its respect. As long as you do that, no examiner will complain and you will have your full task response marks. So how do we do this? Well, it's pretty simple. Give each bullet point 2 answers. For example, who the person was. A lot of times people think if I just say this person was my friend John from college, that's enough. It's not enough. If the examiners really want you to focus and go in on this answer, who the person was, you want to say 2 things. It was my friend John, and that's not even who he is. It's not the answer. It's going to be point number 1. He was my friend from college. During those days, I was studying accounting. It was a certificate program, and he was in my classes. Next point is going to be something about the personality of this person, because the focus is on who he is. Also, this friend of mine was a very friendly and amicable person, always happy and in the mood of jokes, which is why I loved living with him. Next, how long you lived together? So again, a simple answer would be we lived there for a year, and this might be enough for the examiner, depending on the examiner, but you don't want to risk it. Make sure you fully answer this as well. So obviously one point simply is, we lived there for 1 year. Next, I'll always ask myself why and how, so I can elaborate on that. So we lived there for 1 year because the certificate program we did was very brief. It was exactly 1 year. Hence, we just needed to find something close to the college at that time. Next, the reason you lived with them. So I partly answered it here, but here I need to again, for this bullet, be focused on this bullet itself and then answer it with 2 more points. So the reason I lived with them, as I mentioned earlier, we were living together in this accommodation because it was close to college. However, and this is my second point here, however, the reason I lived with him, again, that's the point here, why this person lived with him specifically, was because he was able to pay a larger portion of the rent at that time, and I was struggling with my finances. So John was generous enough to even pay a part of my due or a part of my balance, which I really appreciated, and I was in need of that kind of support at that time. Last one, why you do not live with them anymore, and this is where most examiners would agree that you want to spend slightly more time, still 2 points, but just longer time. So again, this was during the period of college when we wanted to live together. It was mainly because of the convenience of being close to the college. However, that area was not safe at all. Hence, after the study was done, we simply moved out because safety was key priority for the both of us. On top of that, we needed to start our families because this was the point where we were graduated. We had to find a job and then find our partner. We couldn't do that if we were gonna stay together. Hence, we decided to move out. That's it. And finally, you finish off with something like overall. Overall, I would say John was one of the best roommates I could have had, and it was a pleasure living with him. That's it. So the overall wraps up your idea. 2 points for each bullet here. And at the start, you start with something like, there have been many things, and one of them is this. Perfect structure for a cue card of this sort, which is often repeated. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you are struggling with IELTS, check out our IELTS self-paced course, 15 hours of lectures and 10 mock tests in the description. I'll talk to you soon.